Buckle up. Thank you for listening to Lawhorn and Sarabian's Musicians and Beyond, where we bring you the backstage info on the life, lyrics, and long journeys of the music industry. I'm in studio today with Mark Lawhorn. I'm John Sarabian, and we have a special guest zooming in from Nashville, Tennessee. His name is Jeff Batson. He is a singer, songwriter, and he's also been seen in a couple of movies. His music has been featured in commercials of various sorts, and we're going to talk to Jeff about that. I'd like to introduce from Nashville, Tennessee, Jeff Batson. Jeff, welcome.
Hey, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for taking time out of your day to come and visit with Musicians and Beyond. Mark's a little bit under the weather because the pollen count here is in the gazillions, and we're going to work with that the best that we can.
Yeah, we don't know how it is down there in Nashville right now, but up here,
it's about the same.
Yeah, it's hitting us hard, and I haven't felt this way in years. So I apologize for my voice.
The weather because the Celtics lost that game too.
Oh boy, here we go.
Not only did they lose, they got their butts handed to them.
They did.
Yeah, it wasn't good, but we get another one tonight, and we'll see what happens.
That's right.
So, Jeff, you've been a friend of mine probably about 15 years. We met through one of your touching tribute songs, and your songwriting skills are amazing, but you do have a special knack for all of these personal songs. You have a song about adoption, which is very close to you, and it's called Found My Way to You. You have an incredible tribute song to the Make-A-Wish Foundation titled Make-A-Wish. Disabled veteran song called March On, and a firefighter tribute song called Don't Call Me a Hero, which is what you and I had met through. You know, your songwriting abilities in these songs are absolutely incredible. They're like so touching to those that listen, and we've seen you perform them, and we can see in your eyes that they actually touch you too as the musician. Can you touch on a little bit about, why you're picking
That's flattering, but I'm disappointed you forgot one.
I think I know which one you're going to go to. Is it?
Yeah, I think being where you guys are
has an association to the Boston Marathon.
Goodness, yes, yeah. Shame on me.
I was wondering how we left that one out as well. Thank you, Jeff.
I apologize, and that one is Boston Stronger, which is hair-raising tribute to the Boston Marathon bombing and to how Boston became resilient and the whole country backed us, and it was a just all-around incredible song.
Yeah,
I'm very flattered that you mentioned all those songs. I mean, are they commercial successes yet? No, but I don't know. I seem to have a God-given knack for, like you said, just conveying personal feelings and just touching. I don't know how to classify those songs, except they're real.
They certainly are, and it comes across in your lyrics. One of the things I was going to say is anyone that's a friend of mine or John's on social media have heard us play this and post Boston Stronger every year. We try to highlight it every year as the marathon comes closer. Not only show people that your work and let them see how you guys felt what we were going through up here, and you put it to words and put it to music, and it's an amazing, amazing song. So if you have not heard it, please go to Jeff's socials. We'll share that, but it's also on ours. It's on our website and at musiciansandbeyond.com. It's an amazing tribute song to the resiliency of Boston and how we respond to overcome that tragedy.
You guys have been so instrumental over the years of trying to support us and trying to help us climb the ladder. It's a tough, I liken it, John knows this, I call it like throwing darts. You just have to keep throwing darts because you never know which one is going to hit that bullseye.
You're right about that, Jeff. And for those that are listening right now to the podcast at home and have listened to episode 1, you'll know that this is the second half of the Batson-Haynes duo. We had Eric Haynes on as our first guest in episode 1, and we alluded to...
I let him be the guinea pig.
Well done, and kudos to you. Hopefully we've learned a little bit as we go along, and this will be a little smoother than our intro. For those that are listening, this is the second half, and some would say better half, some would say otherwise, but they're an amazing duo when they play together, Batson and Haynes, but they also do a lot of work individually. As Jeff just mentioned, you throw the dart at the board and hope to hit something you never know when it's going to hit. Jeff has struck that pot of gold at least once. He has been a Grammy-nominated artist for a song that he wrote that Tracy Lawrence sang. Tell us a little bit about that song, Jeff.
Well, I was lucky. I co-wrote that with two good friends, Tom Shepard and Aaron Schurz, both who have hit songs at this point. It was written with two hit songwriters. I started writing the song with Aaron, and we kind of got stuck and brought Tom in. We were actually writing for George Jones. And funny, he ends up with an album called The Rock, but it's not our song. But that was how that song started. We brought Tom in. We actually went to a couple older churches around Nashville just for some inspiration. And the song kind of was handed to us. It was a gift. I like to say I'm the vessel. I realize where my talent comes from, and I get the opportunity to share it with everybody. But that's one of those songs. You write 100 songs, and there's some that just kind of stick out. Hey, this is something special. That particular song had been on hold for Randy Travis for several months, then Daryl Worley for a few months. His label closed, and I saw that Tracy Lawrence was going to do a gospel record, and I ended up dropping the CD off at his office, and lo and behold, it wasn't long, a few weeks maybe, I got a call. I saw my caller ID, TLE Enterprises, which I knew was his company, and it was Tracy. And he said he wanted to put a song on hold. And I said, because there were 3 songs on the CD. I said, which one? He said, The Rock. And sometimes if artist puts a song on hold, they may not be going to the studio to record for months or maybe a year. But he told me that he was getting ready to record within the next couple weeks. Wow. So that's when you want to get a call like that, because there's less opportunities for everybody else to knock your song off.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
And in addition to that, he had already talked to his church choir about singing on the record. So it's like, okay, he's already starting to do some pre-production in his head, has a shot of happening. Unfortunately, it was way after his heyday. That was on an independent label. And as it turns out, ended up getting a Grammy nomination, the album did.
Well, that's not the only song that I think's a hit. I mean, between you and Eric, you guys have some incredible songs. Well,
he's an incredible talent. Like you said, we both do solo things, and we're doing solo things for years and years and years before our paths crossed. But yeah. I think he would agree we're both good on our own, but we're great together.
Absolutely.
We complement each other, both as writing and artist-wise.
Yeah, the chemistry is incredible when you guys are together, and there's not a dry eye in the place when you guys sing some of these songs and tell the story of different things that, people go through.
Well, and it's nice to get to share this part of the journey with Eric, because he's admittedly a much better musician, plays the lead guitar. I just own a guitar and kind of strum along. But our vocal blend, to hear him individually or me individually, it wouldn't sound like it would work, but it does.
Absolutely. You've been in music for a long time. How old were you when you first started having an interest in any kind of music?
Well, I started playing the saxophone in grade school. So that was my first instrument. And then I ended up picking up the guitar in high school. And the first band, this is an interesting story. My cousin and my best friend were in the high school rhythm section. And then they started a little band, and they practiced up the street in my cousin's garage. And they knew that I had been taking guitar lessons. And one of their practices, they needed a guitar strap. So they came down and asked if they could borrow a guitar strap. And I decided to barter. So I said, okay, if I can come up to your practice and sing a few songs, you can borrow my guitar strap. So that's how that happened. And this was in the 80s when all the rock songs were high range. And my friend that was doing most of the singing, he had a much lower voice. So my voice was probably more suited to what was going on and what we liked. Right. So that's how I ended up in my first band.
It's a good little story.
So that was back in your days in St. Louis. When did you mosey down to Nashville?
I moved to Nashville in 97. This is another story I like to tell. I mean, everybody's a big fish in their town, but I was kind of I'm going to say a sissy. I should have moved to Nashville in 87 versus 97 because with the way the country music business took off, I'm absolutely convinced I would be a hit songwriter. But I decided to go ahead and finish college and get my master's degree. So I knew when I moved to Nashville, because I had been an appraiser in St. Louis commercial property. I knew I could do that in Nashville, and I knew I was never going to go hungry or struggle. Sometimes I wonder if I would have been a little more hungry, if I might have worked a little harder at the music business.
Well, you know, isn't that the story of Nashville? People that you talk to, and it's not just Nashville, it's any music city. It's anyone in the industry that when they started chasing the dream, you had to make a choice. Be practical and stay on your path of life that you were on at the moment, or take a huge risk, go down there and throw it all into the wind and hope for the best. It had to be a tough decision, and it sounds like you've come to grips with it. You actually moved there at a great time to be a real estate appraiser.
I did. I've been very blessed, very fortunate.
Yeah.
You know, and I also have friends that have had record deals, publishing deals, even hit songs. And they may write a hit song and it may be 5 years or 10 years before they make any significant money. And I mean, so I've been lucky enough to make a good living. You know, it's just, I just feel God has led me the direction he has, and I just have to live with that.
Well, you're very humble because a lot of things have happened in your life that you're not really alluding to. I mean, you've opened up for Hank Williams Jr., you've opened up for Keith Urban, Tracy Byrd, Colin Ray, Gary U.S. Bonds. I mean, those are big names. You've shared the stage with a lot of people. You've written some songs with some big people, or some big people have taken the songs that you've written or that you've co-written. Who has taken some of your music and put it out there and brought it to the next level?
Well, there's a Texas artist named Jamie Richards that used to live here. When I met him, he was on Curb Records. He's had a bunch of success in Texas on the Texas chart. In fact, we had a top 10 back in, I don't remember, 2006, 7, 8, called Wasted. And he released 2 or 3 of my songs, which is nice. Of course, you alluded to the fact that I've had some commercials. Hometown Heroes is a song that an artist named Laura Bryna released when she was on a label that Clint Black was a partner in. And that song, the commercial, was done for the Air National Guard, and it debuted on Monday Night Football, which was pretty cool. Funny thing is, I talked to her manager last week, who she's still kind of at it, lives in LA, and that song could very well be in another commercial, the Hometown Heroes song. And it was also used in a PSA for Mount Sinai Hospital during COVID in New York City. They used it. So that song's been another special song. Not a commercial hit, but.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And you've had some cameos on TV show or a commercial or something.
Murderer.
You're a murderer.
I'm a murderer.
Wow.
I was I don't know how this happened, but I ended up being on an episode of The New Detectives. I was the murderer.
And that is that the Learning Channel or Discovery Channel?
It was on Discovery Channel.
Discovery
which
Channel.
At the time was the most popular, and that show was one of the most popular crime shows. This is a number of years ago. I don't look anything like the murderer, but I ended up with the role. And it was a speaking role. It was pretty cool. I got to film part of it here in Tennessee, and then the rest of it at their studios in Suffolk, Virginia. And every once in a while, it still pops up, and I'll get a call from somebody going, "Hey, did you kill Jane?" Oh, yes, I killed Jane.
That's pretty funny.
And chopped her up.
With the candlestick in the living room?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that story, the crime, he was having an affair with this lady and killed her because she was going to out it, the story. Well, he dismembered her, dumped her in the lake, and he kept for some reason, his team wanted to keep getting the case continue. If you're in his situation, you want to get it over with before there's evidence, so that this case got continued for 2 years. The week that it finally came to trial, part of the body floated up and he was busted.
He almost got away with murder.
He almost got away with it.
So can you pick out one of your songs that really touches you and tell us a little story about it, how it came to life, how you got the title, the idea?
Well, I'll go with the song that's probably the most dear to my heart. It's obviously Found My Way to You, which I'm adopted. Adopted parents are both deceased. But they've never withheld any information. As soon as I was able to comprehend, they told me I was adopted and told me if I ever wanted to pursue finding my biological parents, they would be supportive and help. I just never felt like I was missing out on anything because I had a loving family and a brother, and I didn't ever pursue it. But long story short, my mom passed away in 2016. And when she did, I still didn't pursue it, but it sort of pursued me. I ended up doing Ancestry just to kind of see what my ethnicity was. And through doing that, one of my biological cousins contacted me and told me if I wanted to know about my biological parents, or at least mother, he could tell me. So I politely put him off for a year. That's heavy news when you're 54 or 5 years old. But a year goes by, and the bottom line is now I know my story. But back to the song, I always wanted to let my mother know how appreciative I was. Both mothers, my biological mother and my mom who raised me. And so I had this idea, and here we'll go long circle. So Through the Rock, the Tracy Lawrence song that was Grammy nominated, I had met the writers actually. All the writers that wrote Garth Brooks' hits, they did an album. And this is Tony Arata, who wrote The Dance, Kent Blakesy, Kim Williams, Pat Alger, all these guys that made Garth's career. They did this contest. And Aaron, the co-writer, had entered The Rock. Well, long story short, The Rock won the contest. So when you've got all those people voting on your song, you feel pretty good. But I had met Pat Alger through that contest and through that song winning. Pat, he wrote Unanswered Prayers, Thunder Rolls for Garth, Small Town Saturday Night, which was a Hal Ketchum big song for him back in the 90s. So I met Pat, and I got the guts to ask him if we could possibly get together to write. So he did. So we got together, and I went over to his house. We started a couple things, and nothing was really sticking. And I'm like, well, man, I blew this. But at the end of the session, he said, well, let's get together again. I'm like, whew, thanking my lucky stars. So between that appointment and the next thing we had on the books, I was driving one of the trips back to St. Louis to see my parents. And I don't know, this idea just dropped out of the sky called Found My Way to You. So next time I got with Pat, I told him, and you could tell in his eyes, wow, this is real. And so he wanted to run with it. So we did, and ended up with this very special song. And, it wouldn't be what it is without Pat's input and help. And he's an incredible artist and songwriter, obviously. So there's the story about Found My Way to You.
Wow, it's really a touching story. Mark and I saw you perform that a couple months back at the Bluebird Cafe, and there really wasn't a dry eye in the house. I mean, just looking around, you could tell how the emotion that you were portraying through the song and the heartfelt lyrics to it, how it was touching people and really making
it's a special song. It's one of those songs that every time I play it, somebody comes up to me after the show that's either adopted or has a story, and you really don't realize how many people are either adopted or have that direct connection. And I mean, I've had grown men come up crying, and you do music for that reason. I mean, would I love to have a bunch of commercial success? And do I still hope to? Of course. But you really do music, I think, and you should do music because you have something to say or you have a story to tell. That's the reason. And you can't I can't put a dollar sign the way that makes me feel when they come up to me. Like John, when I met John in the firefighter song, or the firefighters that come up to me and talk about Don't Call Me a Hero. It's like, yeah, I'd love to be rich, but I'm rich.
Yeah. That song, when you sang it at the Bluebird, and I've heard it other times as well, and you can see how it connects to people, and you can understand how there are so many people in the world that share your story in one way or another, can feel how you feel about it. But, I'm sure that those people out there that are sharing in the same story that have been adopted or have had other family, matters that brought someone into their life, it really touches everybody. And there's no one that song won't reach into the heart and deliver that message to. So
Well,
when you
I
sing
gave
it, you
to
see
my
it.
mom for a birthday present. She didn't know I was writing it. I set her down and played it for her. And I'll admit, obviously she was still alive when the song was written. It was really hard. She got to see me play the Bluebird a time or two.
Awesome.
And I mean, hard to finish. And I had to I sang that song at her funeral.
Oh boy.
Which
That's
tough.
one.
That's
That is
very
a tough one. The way you and I met, Jeff, actually is because I was touched and turned on to your song. For those that don't know it out there, I'm a fire captain just outside of Boston. And I was in a fire 15 years ago when I met Jeff. Got a little burn, went to the local pharmacy to get some burn cream. And a woman said to me, "Oh my God, I saw what you guys are doing today. It's crazy. Did you ever hear that firefighter tribute song?" And she was talking, and I was way out of it because I had just come out of an inferno. I went home and started thinking about what I was doing an hour prior. And I said, geez, you know what? I'll get on my AOL. It was AOL at the time. AOL account and search firefighter tribute songs. And this guy, Jeff Batson, popped up. Don't Call Me a Hero. And I played it, and I sat at my computer, and I actually felt tears rolling down my face because what was being emanated in the song was touching me crazy. I mean, it was very emotional. So I get on the line and send this Jeff Batson guy a message and say, listen, this is my story. Just got out of a fire, and I just want to thank you for recognizing and telling such a good story and bringing what firefighters have to offer out in the public. I figured that was the end of it. About 2 minutes later, ring, Jeff Batson sends a message back. And wow, I really appreciate it. It means so much that what I've done, has touched you. And we went back and forth. And actually 15 years later, we've become very good friends. He's come up here to the New England area, played many shows. So our connection through his music was Don't Call Me a Hero. I think without that song, we wouldn't have met.
That's true. There's a lot of people up there that I've met, including Gary Levin, who has a part in this of the song. I can tell you the story about how that song came to be. Gary was selling coins, and he cold called me. And I'm like, dude, I don't have any money. I'm a songwriter. He said, oh, you're a songwriter. I'd like to hear some of your songs. So he ended up giving me his address. I sent him some music. And then there was a big furniture store fire in Charleston, South Carolina. And afterwards, and the Charleston, I think it's 9. Is that right, John? Charleston 9?
Yes.
So 9 guys perished. And so this Gary Levin guy, he's like, you need to write a firefighter tribute song. And I'm the type, you can plant a seed, but it might be years before the seed starts to grow. And so anyway, he planted this seed, and he said I should talk to this guy named Joey Stan. Joey Stan's a sax player. He played with a band up there in Jersey called Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. He was that sax player in that band for years. And then was playing with Gary U.S. Bonds. He's friends with Springsteen and Bon Jovi and all these New Jersey cats. So I got to talking to him and his band. They did these firefighter deals where firefighters would call you to get you to buy tickets to these shows and they'd make money. But we got to talking, and he's like, without fail, these firefighters, every time you would talk to them, be like, we're not heroes. We're just doing what we do. And so I'm like, being the songwriter, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a title. So I ended up writing Don't Call Me a Hero. And I felt inclined to include those guys as co-writers just because the song wouldn't have a life without them. I came up there, and that really is what got me and Eric to New England. And that's what started that whole New England connection, because we have so many friends and fans. That's like, well, you guys are like family. It's just what it is.
Thank you.
But through that song.
Yeah, you've gotten messages from all over the world, literally.
Yeah,
from
Philippines, Indonesia, Canada. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you
I
saw.
mean, music's universal.
It is. Song has made it around the globe.
Boston. Yeah.
Boston to Nashville. So you were talking a lot about "Don't Call Me a Hero," and you had recorded it, and Gary Levitt had done the Firefighter Creed in the original.
He did the original, yes.
Yeah, and
some guy named Sarabian did a version.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was honored to be asked to do that and insert the Firefighter Creed in the middle of the song. And
he also, like this Sarabian cat, he showed up in Nashville and like crashed our show at the Bluebird.
Uh-oh.
He got to.
I do remember he found his way to the stage, and
somehow.
Yeah, it's amazing how that happened.
It's amazing.
Yes. We met so many nice people that night.
He's a pretty incredible man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we met a lot of.
If Mark Lawhorn, Gary Levitt, and John Sarabian ran the music business, Eric and I would be stars.
You certainly would be, and you are there in our heads, that's for sure.
It doesn't go without notice.
Well, we appreciate the kudos.
What about during the show if we maybe try to do this firefighter song? See if Sarabian there can pull his weight.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. See if I remember the words.
Well, same here.
Let's give it a shot. Pull out that.
Do it.
Yeah, let's pull out that 6 string and see what you got.
While Jeff gets ready, I'll just tell you, Jeff, it's a special place because my grandfather was a firefighter. My friend John here is a firefighter. My little brother Matt is a firefighter in Salem. So, and my nephew John Hanley just got signed on to the Malden Fire Department. So,
wow, congratulations!
Congratulations, John Hanley.
Yeah. We're pretty proud of the members of our family that have made it there, and they don't call themselves heroes, but we do. That's for sure.
I'm a family man with family ties, a regular Joe with an angel for a wife. I play catch in the yard with my son. I'm praying my little girl turns out just like her mom. I count my blessings each and every day, knowing one alarm could take me away. But I do what I love to do. It's not a case of having to. I know the risk and I'd pay the price. It's not a job, it's my life. So if I say goodbye, climbing that ladder to the sky, don't cry. And don't call me a hero. 'Cause inside I'm still that little boy in a big red hat with a fire truck Tonka toy. I'd race through town as the siren screamed. With flashing lights, I'd pull up to the scene. Knock down a door and run through the smoky dark. Then reappear with a baby in my arms. I do what I love to do. It's not a case of having to. I know the risk and I'd pay the price. It's not a job, it's my life. So if I say goodbye, climbing that ladder to the sky, don't cry. And don't call me a hero. Don't call me a hero.
When I'm called to duty, God, wherever flames may rage, give me strength to save a life, whatever be its age. Help me to embrace a little child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and to hear the weakest shout, and quickly and efficiently to put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and to give the best in me, to guard my neighbor and protect his property. And if according to your will, I am to lose my life, bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife.
I get to do what I love to do. So it's not a case of having to. I know the risk, and I pay the price. It's not a job, it's my life. So if I say goodbye, climbing that ladder to the sky, don't cry. And don't call me a hero. If I ever wave goodbye from that ladder in the sky, don't cry. And don't call me a hero.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing Don't Call Me a Hero with us here at Musicians and Beyond. Again, that's how we met Jeff Batson.
Well, thank you for recording that Creed part for us.
It was a complete
it's nice
honor.
to have someone that's actually a firefighter doing that. Gives it a whole new meaning.
A totally huge honor for me to do it. When you called me up on stage at the Bluebird Cafe, I mean, some people would kill to get up there, and I was just blown away that you would ask me to get up there and do that, and it is much appreciated. And it's
Well, the first time you got to do that, if you remember, you surprised me, and I didn't even know you were coming to town.
That was true.
So
that was
a
true.
nice surprise. But
yeah, it was nice. So let's get on. And if you were to perform with an artist, dead or alive, that you haven't performed with before, who would it be?
I'm a huge Elvis. I think Elvis is one of those artists that's kind of almost unparalleled. Is he the greatest singer in the world? No, and maybe not the greatest performer. But he could take any song, any genre, gospel, country, rock, blues, and make it his own and sell it. I'd like to share the stage with the king.
Wow. You and Eric have both said that before, that you don't have to be the best songwriter or best musician, but you've got to be believable and portray what you are saying through your words to the people and yourself.
I think you should be genuine. That's the bottom line, I think. And I think if you're not, at some point, it shows. If you're just chasing the radio or chasing some fad, you're probably not doing it for the right reason. I mean, you may luck out and be successful, but at some point, the fire's probably going to burn out.
Yeah. Well, if you weren't a real estate appraiser and a musician, what do you think you'd do? What would you like to be?
Well, if I weren't a musician, I would still probably be in the music business on the business side, I think, because I think I have a pretty good understanding of how it works.
Yeah.
Of course, my understanding may be prior to the whole digital era. It's changed the game, and admittedly, not as up as some of these young kids. But probably I'd be trying to find some way to work in the music business.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a lawyer, but my undergraduate career at St. Louis University, I was in a band. So I was going to college, but that's about all I was doing, was going to college.
Yeah. Showing up and not studying, is that what you're alluding to?
Yes. And I ended up, the first couple of years were not good. I ended up on the dean's list, and I actually took the LSAT, but the law schools I could get into weren't where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
So I ended up pursuing real estate, and then got my master's, and country music was taken off. So I had played in rock bands in high school, variety stuff, but then country was hot in 89, 90, and then through the 90s. So got in the country band.
That shows when you've been up here performing, you go out, you have your originals, you and Eric throw those out there and play them for us, but you also do a lot of cover songs. What is your favorite song to cover?
Gosh, that's tough, Mark. And it's because the era I grew up in and where I grew up, I'm a huge REO Speedwagon fan. So I love to sing Take It on the Run. That's just takes me back to high school.
And I've seen you do it, and it's a lot of fun watching you guys have fun up there. And
the crowd sings along.
Yeah.
So, they're a Midwestern band, just like you guys got bands up there, Aerosmith and Extreme, that are regional or started regional. REO's kind of like that for the Midwest. That's definitely one of them. But, Eric and I, it's fun to sing the harmony sings with him, like all the Eagles stuff.
Yeah. And on that note, you've played a lot of venues. What has been your favorite venue to play?
Well, the Hank Jr. show at the Fox was, I guess, big. Not the biggest in terms of attendance, but the nicest venue. But I'll tell myself and tell you that it wasn't totally all flattering. The band I was in at the time, forgot, may have been called General Lee, but that's not PC anymore. But that's we won the contest, and so got to do this opening spot. And I saw the times on the little poster when we were supposed to play. Well, long story short, we went a couple minutes over, and I learned a valuable lesson. I learned that when the union's involved and you're the opening act, you better keep to your schedule, because they pulled the plug during our little encore song, and boom, that's it.
You got the hook.
We got the hook. We got the off the stage. So, but I learned later that they do that because at the end of the night, if the main artist goes over, the cost overrun because it's all union people tearing the stage down can really have an impact. So I learned a lesson.
Right. So with music nowadays, there's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. If there was a younger generation musician or aspiring musician that come up to you and said, Jeff, can you tell me what you think about being a musician? What would your advice be to someone that wants to get into the music industry?
Well, I would say number one, do it because you love to do it and you have something, like I said earlier, that you want to say. You have a story you want to share. I would also tell a young artist, learn everything you can about social media and the whole digital platform, because that's where things are. It's a blessing and a curse. It's one of those things where you can be worldwide in 10 minutes or something can go viral. So I would tell young people, do it for the right reason, but also learn about the digital era and social media and the importance, because it was so different when I moved here. I knew at that time everything about how it worked and the importance of networking. Like this week is in Nashville used to be called Fanfare. Now it's called CMA Fan Fest. That's this week, first time in 2 years because of COVID. So lots of performances, all the artists are in town, lots of girls in Daisy Dukes and cowboy boots in town.
That sounds like it could be a song, Daisy Dukes and Cowboy Boots.
Oh, that rhymes, doesn't it?
I like it.
Look at John.
Give me some writing credits on that one.
Yeah. That's what I would tell a young person, and have fun.
So with that, let me ask you, shout out to your social media tags that you have.
Well, I have jeffbatson.com. All this stuff, admittedly, should be updated. And then Eric and I have batsonhaynes.com, which is BATSONHAINES.com. And then we also have Facebook pages. We've got Instagram.
Jeff Batson Music on Facebook.
Jeff Batson Music fans on Facebook. Jeff Batson Music on Instagram. I think.
Yeah, okay.
Twitter is Jeff Batson Music.
Have you done any TikTok yet?
I've not done any TikTok.
You should.
It's one of those things where it's funny because you can have a great song, But the stuff that seems to catch on is not necessarily the great songs. It's the catchy stuff or quirky, corny stuff. But Eric's reading a book right now about some of this stuff. And so we kind of, like everybody that does music, the last couple of years have been different because of COVID. It's just changed. So we haven't done as much. We're itching. He's been writing a few songs, he told me. I'm about ready to start writing again. It's been kind of a lull. So we're ready to get after it. We're ready to come up your way.
Well, we're ready for you to come back. That's for sure.
Well, now that things are opening up again, maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah, you guys play all over. You know, besides Nashville, you have New England. You play basically across the United States. So we can get all of your dates that you're playing on your website or your Facebook pages.
Yeah, we're headed up here in a couple of weeks, which back home for me, really, it's south of where I grew up, but it's still where my parents were from and all my cousins. We're going to play the casino in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and then play a little winery over in Illinois. So we're excited.
Very fun. Very fun. Are you still driving the Tahoe?
I am still driving the Tahoe.
You are. When you're driving around in the Tahoe, who is on your playlist? What do you listen to in your car?
I have to tell you, I listen to a lot of prime country. I listen to, and I also listen to the 80s rock stuff, current radio.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with the 80s music.
You can't.
No, it's the best.
Well, you're a rock star.
Wow. I like to think
I've met some rock stars through you.
You have. I'll admit that. So Mark teases me a little bit. He's like, he's a little bit country and I'm a little bit rock and roll, which I know that you've heard that. And I joked to him last time. I said it was kind of like being Donnie and Marie, but he's got to be Marie. So
that's, like the Eagles, if they came out today, they'd be a country band. So that stuff started probably in the 90s. It started to sound more like 80s rock. And I think that's part of what drew me in. Like Garth Brooks, a lot of his songs rock pretty hard. And his stage show was more like a Kiss show,
True.
Now, here's a curveball for you. When we were down in Nashville with you the last time, we went out to dinner and we had a great dinner at a nice bar that overlooked the baseball park. It was a great spot. We had great conversation around dinner. What is your favorite restaurant in the Nashville area?
The Southern Steak and Oyster would be for a little more upscale.
It's one of my favorites for brunch. Sit at that bar and watch people come and go. It's a great spot to sit.
Yeah, I like that place. But then I have my local, Water and Holes, bar grills in the Germantown area. But the Southern's probably my go-to for a nice sit-down meal.
Very nice. And what was the name of the place we went to that night that overlooked the ballpark?
Third and Home.
That was a fantastic location. Great restaurant, great people.
I was just there last week.
Yeah, we really liked that. We probably enjoyed our company more so than everything else around us. But I got to say, the staff, the food, everything was great. You bought dinner, which was even better for us.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back and have them do that.
Come on back. Or I can write a hit song and buy something new.
Well, let's go for that. You've already written hit songs.
Well,
they may just not have been discovered yet.
Well, and you're absolutely right. I've got a catalog of songs that nobody's going to take away. The other thing, and I think maybe Eric and you guys talked about it a little bit in that first episode, but you have to get someone out there promoting your songs, like pushing them to artists. And John, you and I've talked, and this is a great idea. I mean, we could start being a little more proactive and posting stuff on social media and the sites of some of these people. And what's Eric's song? Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
That's it.
That's obviously one of my favorite songs. I love that every time I hear you perform it. I remember the first time I saw one of the best production pieces I've seen with it was on Nashville.
Nashville Unleashed.
Unleashed. That was a great version. I loved you sitting in the round with those artists in the studio. I thought that was a fantastic version.
That was a great series. That was a lot of fun. We got to do that several times.
Very lucky to have you guys brought that to us, and it's been fun watching some of those when they were on. Tell us a little bit. You alluded to, the catalog. How does that happen in the background? Where does that music sit, and how do people come across it? What is the process?
Well, it sits on your computer. unless you get somebody out there that's a song plugger. There's people in Nashville called song pluggers. It's a career. When an artist is recording a project, they will make it be known, or their producer will, that they're recording and they're looking for songs. Sometimes they'll be specific, hey, looking for songs like this previous hit song, or looking for songs like his last record. And so there's pitch sheets you can subscribe to that tell who's actively looking for songs. And they don't accept unsolicited material. So that's why you need us to either have the contacts, or you have to hire a song plugger that you typically will pay a draw every month to promote your songs or get these songs in front of the right people. You're basically paying for the contacts for their network, and they will take your song and play it. Nowadays, it's mostly email. Used to be, you'd sit down, you take your little MP3 to the meeting, sit down and play for somebody, but everything's pretty much digital now.
Yeah, interesting.
But, so Eric and I have these few hundred songs, but we really need to pull the trigger and get somebody out there plugging them again. But it's an investment.
Oh, I'm sure. And it's a lot of work to get to that level, and to have that amount of songs, it's a lot of work to put into the background. But I think it's a country song right now that talks about what good is a song if you're not going to sing it, or what good is a guitar if it has no strings.
Right.
I believe that's Luke Combs.
Luke Combs. I mean, he's hit it big time,
Yeah, we talked a little bit about, the need to be genuine, and the process with you and Eric going through, and the need how some people don't have to have, the biggest voice or the biggest performance, but it's the genuineness of it. And Eric Church isn't necessarily the best performer or have the best voice, but he comes across, he's an incredible songwriter. He's gifted when it comes to performing on a stage, and you can overcome things with that genuineness and that natural ability to deliver a story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he's a handsome guy, but I mean, I like the fact that people like maybe Luke Combs, who, doesn't wear size 30 jeans. It didn't matter because of his talent. Used to be in the 90s, if you didn't fit a certain mold or look a certain way or just be some stud, you probably weren't going to get a record deal. And I like the fact that some of these guys have broken some of those boundaries and borders and barriers.
Yeah, Stapleton, Combs, Morgan Wallen, none of them look like your stereotypical country music star that Nashville would want to push out in a And but now they are, music. Oh my God, now and they are becoming
all those guys.
Yeah, incredible talent.
I'm hoping for big things for Lawhorn Sarabian. They got this podcast going. We'll
see where this goes.
Yeah, we're hoping the same thing, and we hope the same for you. And
I think you just got to have fun with it, like songwriting. You just looks like you're having fun.
We're having a ball, and neither of us are musically inclined whatsoever, but we have a true love of music, as you are very well aware of. And
I think you guys both have a good ear for music too. I'll give you that compliment.
Well, we're musically inclined to listen. And one of the best things about this is it gives us the opportunity to go down to Nashville, see you guys, explore Nashville in a different way, spend time with our friends down there, and we're very excited about getting back down there soon and to get you back up here. For those listening at home,
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, these guys have been up here. They've played in New Hampshire. They've played in Plymouth. They've played here in Boston. They've played all around New England, and they had a great mini tour. If you didn't get to see them, the next time they come up, you've got to come out for a live show because they are a lot of fun.
Well, thank you. Yeah. John, I missed those Make-A-Wish events we did.
Yeah, that was in the beginning when we first met way back when. And, Jeff and Eric have a song called Make-A-Wish. And a local police chief had called me up and said, I know that you know some people in the music industry. Do you have anyone that will play this big fundraiser we have? And I sent him the song by text, and he was driving down the road in his cruiser, and he had to pull over and call me and say, John, I almost crashed the cruiser. He said, this is unbelievable. Bob Cormier, he says, John, we got to get these guys up here. What's it going to take? So made a call, told them it was for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Jeff and Eric are both very generous and, have a big heart, and couldn't have gotten on the plane any quicker to come and try to raise funds for Make-A-Wish. And it was a very successful fundraiser that we had.
Well, and in a roundabout way, it spawned your Lakes Region Bracelet Company, which is an incredible venture.
Well, thank
for
you.
A great cause.
Yeah, thank you. That, through that, Diana and I, after we left that fundraiser, Diana looked at me and said, it's amazing how helping people out, how it's touched us and how it's really touched the kids of Make-A-Wish. Let's do something on a permanent scale. So a lot of different alignment things happened, and we ended up coming up with a whole jewelry line that benefits the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it's been extremely successful up to this point of 5 years. And we just love meeting the kids of Make-A-Wish, the kids that we've granted wishes for. We've met so many nice people, and it's been really good. So also, they're sponsoring this show today, and that's lakesregionbracelet.com. And it's, sterling silver jewelry in an affordable price. Check it out. And we get a lot of celebrities that are wearing it now, too.
Pretty incredible, the web that music weaves.
It is.
It's awesome.
I mean,
sitting here talking to you guys, it's really because of music.
Absolutely. I've met so many people through music, and musicians and beyond obviously started because of music and our love for music. And we want to thank you for your, taking time out of your busy day.
Well,
I know
thank
that
you guys.
I know
Mark,
that you.
I hope you get feeling better.
Thank you. I'm sure I will be. I can't, I got a weekend ahead of me down the Cape that I got to be up and ready for. So it's going to take some rest over the next 24 hours, but I'll get back after it.
Yeah. Again, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know that you had to reschedule a couple things to be on. We are beyond grateful. If you have any people that you would like to get on the show, you know how to get in touch with us, musicians
Absolutely.
and beyond. Would love to, promote anything that's up and coming for you, Eric, any friends of yours. We'd really like to, again, from the bottom of our heart, thank you for coming on to Musicians and Beyond.
Well, thank you guys. And I'm just rooting for big things.
Thank you very much. And we're rooting for that for you as well, you and Eric and all of your friends and family. We give you our best, and we thank you for being our friend.
Hey, love you guys.